This week's video is a makeup tutorial, which was requested by my friend Fabrina, and so I hope you enjoy it. The products that I'm going to be demonstrating today are the ones that I use. They tend to rotate depending on, sometimes I just like to try new products. I'm signed up with Ipsy, so I often change it up because of samples that I've received through them. Sometimes if it's just on sale, I'll give it a try, and I end up actually really liking it. I'll be adding a list of all the products that I use in the description below, so that if you're interested in any of these products, you can actually go and look into them. Now, I've already gone ahead and I've washed my face. I've applied moisturizer and already the primer as well. There's two different primers that I've been using, and I've been alternating between the two lately. And it's Dr. Brandt's Pores No More, which I find, sometimes if you have like a lot of pores that are very visible around your nose area, I find like they hide those pretty well. As well as Smashbox Photo Finish. I have very sensitive skin, and I find that the Smashbox is really nice, very light, and it doesn't clog my pores, and so that way I don't have as many breakouts. For foundation, I also have two kinds that I use. I have L'Oreal Nude Magic Liquid Powder, and also Rimmel London BB Cream. Now, what I tend to do is I often I get different colors and I mix them in a small container. I'll show you. I just put a little bit of each of the colors in there, and I just kind of tend to adjust it for the time of the year, because like in winter I'll be a lot more pale, not as much sun, and whereas in the summer where I'm in the sun a lot more, my skin will be a little bit darker. And so this way it allows me to kind of, play with the color and adjust it accordingly. So to apply, I'm going to have to look in the mirror while I do this instead of the camera. To apply it, you just grab your foundation brush and just add a little bit. And I just apply it just very sloppy all over where I need to put the foundation. You can put on a pretty thick layer because you're going to be wiping it off after. Okay. So the next step is you want to kind of blend it a little bit with your skin. So I just use a foundation pad and just lightly just spread it around evenly so that there's no more streak marks, which I see that on the camera you don't really see the streak marks, but I can see them in my mirror. You don't want to rub too hard because then it might actually loosen up some skin, and that's not really the look that you're looking for. So you can kind of do a combination of light rubbing and dabbing. You want to make sure to go all along the jawline, because sometimes the worst thing you want to do is you actually have, like a line of where your foundation ends and where your chin starts. You really don't want to get that kind of look, because that's not very attractive. So you want to kind of try to blend it a little bit down into your neck, but not too much. The next step, you apply concealer. What I have, this was a sample that I received through Ipsy, and it's Mica Beauty Cosmetics. And I use a different, more precise foundation brush. And this one is very thick. It's a lot like the stick concealers. So it's the same type of texture as like a lipstick. And you want to go and apply it under and over. And again, just like the foundation, I do it very thick and just very sloppy. And you can see a little bit in this lighting, the difference in color. It's suddenly gotten a lot brighter all around my eye. Okay, so once that's applied, you go with your blending brush. I use the pointed one so I can get more into the corners here. And you just blend it in. Just gently. Next, you can't really see it on the camera very well. I'm going to try and close up. I have a little bit of a breakout here. What I use to conceal it, you can use the same concealer as what I just used for around the eyes, but I have this IT Cosmetics, again, small little sample size that I received through Ipsy, and I've really been loving this product to hide any little blemishes. I use a precision brush for this, very small, and as you can see, I just put a tiny little bit. It's not focusing very well here, but just a little dab. And all I do is just dab it on. Now, it's very obvious. You can see it in the camera right now. What you want to do to blend it in, you just gently dab. And just keep increasing how, like you go around in circles, and you just keep increasing. And so that just gently blends it in so that you don't really see it anymore. Once you've gotten the foundation down, then next you want to apply your powder. I don't do contouring, which is like, all the rage right now. I don't have the time for it, nor do I really, want to put that much makeup on my face. This is just my own personal choice. The powder that I use over my foundation is by CoverGirl. It's a loose powder, as you can see. And so with my blush brush, I just apply it all over. Just a light cover, just to kind of get rid of that sheen and give a nice matte finish. Okay, so now that that's been applied, this is my little trick in order to avoid having to do contouring, but still kind of getting a little bit of the contouring effect. I use a fan brush and bronzing powder. The one that I have here that I'm demonstrating is Pop Beauty, and it's called Sunkissed Bronzer. With the fan brush, I just apply a little bit on the brush, and then I just go and apply it here in the crease to accentuate the cheekbone. And again on the other side. Now the look is very subtle because I don't wear very much makeup. I try to go for a little bit more natural look. So this is why I've only applied just a little bit there, just to, kind of, you can see my cheekbones a lot more with having that there. Seems like I have a little bit more on this side, but that's just the shadowing in the room right now. Next, I'm going to be applying my eyeshadow. Now, normally the next step should be probably to do your eyebrows. I have very fine eyebrows, but I've found through trial and error, I guess, I do a better job at drawing on my eyebrows once I've already put on my eyeshadow. So I'm going to go ahead and do the eyeshadow now. And this is another cheat that I use. Now normally you would use a brush this size or so to apply the eyeshadow, but in the morning when I'm in a rush, I cheat and I use a fatter one. And there's a lot less control over where you can put the color, but I just try to put some just here on the end, on one side of it, a little bit more, and then I just apply it. And as you can see, it just blends in right away. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. The lighting in the room is kind of giving an effect that there's more on one side than the other, so I might have not picked the right room to do this in. One step that I forgot to mention earlier, which is I apply under my eyes. It's Be a Bombshell Cosmetics, and it's called Smooth Criminal Powder. And all it is just it's a white matte finish powder. And I really like to apply it under my eyes It's very silky, and I find it gives a nice little finish that doesn't have a sheen. So next is the part that I hate the most, and that's my eyebrows. I tend to always have to retry over and over because I can never get them right. I use different types of products depending on the level of makeup that I wear. Sometimes I use actual pencil liners, but today I'm actually using powder with an angled brush. So you just apply the color on there, and what you want to do is you want to start by doing the outlining. Now you see I did the top and bottom line, and then I got them to connect and go into the point. So you want to repeat that for the other side, trying to match them up as much as possible, which is the toughest part and why I hate doing this the most. And then you just fill them in. So I've managed to finish my eyebrows, and they seem to be pretty well matched. Now with a tapered blending brush, you can see here, I just use a very light color, and this is a L'Oreal Paris color. It's a loose powder, and so you can actually put it pretty thick on your brush because it's light, and you can brush off any excess that you don't want if there's too much. So I put quite a bit on there, and what I do is I start in the corner, and I apply it very thick in the corner, in the crease. And then I go up and along the eyebrow. And then again on the other side, thick in the corner, and then you just brush it up to the brow. You can bring it a little bit onto the eyelid as well, but you don't want to go over the darker brown that was applied earlier. Now, if you look closely, you can see the brightness in the corner here, and that's what you want to go for. It opens up your eyes a bit. Next, I always like adding a little bit of like an accent color just in the middle of my eyelid. And the one that I'm using right now is called, it's Caitlin, and it's just mineral eye polish in the color Orchid. And so what I do, I literally just go right here in the middle on both sides. And then with a light brush, just blend it a little bit. So if you can see, it gives a little bit of like an accent shimmer in the middle right there. Now at this point, I've already applied all of my powdered products, and I want them to stay in place. And to do that, I use a finishing mist. The one I'm using today is by MAC. So all you do, it's the same principle as like a hairspray to keep your hair in place. This is to keep all of your makeup in place. At a distance of about 12 inches, according to the directions on the bottle, you just want to spray. Now I use 3. I do 1 on each side and then 1 in the middle. You want to give it a few minutes just to dry. It doesn't really take that long. Ugh, I got some in my mouth. Now that I've given it some time to dry, the finishing touch is applying eyeliner. I like applying a little bit of liner under my eye first, and then going into detail and doing my top. Why I do it in that order, I don't know. That's how I roll. I'm just going to apply a quick, very light little line on the lash line. Now, as you can see, it's very subtle. There's just a little bit under there. Now, one of my favorite products for eyeliners is Rimmel London Waterproof Gel Liner. I've been using this product for at least a good year now, and I absolutely love it. Now what I do before I start applying it, I actually take my baby wipe and I clean it off, and that way it flattens it. Let's see if I can show. And see, it makes like a very, very thin brush. So I find I have better control this way in order to apply it and to make nice clean lines. I just grab a little bit of the paste, and then starting in the corner, I'm going to work my way into the corner here. I don't focus on doing my points just yet. I go for the cat eye look, but I don't do it until I've applied on both eyes, so that way it's easier to get them to match up. Now that it's been applied to both eyes, now I can focus on doing my points. Now they're looking pretty even, so I think I did a pretty good job. And the final touch before lipstick is mascara. I've recently started using L'Oreal's Voluminous Butterfly Mascara in Midnight Black. And one of the reasons why I decided to give this one a try is because I actually really like the brush. It has a little bit of an angle here on the end. It gives me the opportunity to get as close as possible to the skin and get as much of it onto the lash as possible. So I use it in this angle here, and I just go and apply. I wiggle the brush a little bit so that the lashes get in between the little bristles on the brush, and it applies it even better. If I find that one coat isn't enough, I go and just apply a little bit more towards the tips. And now using the underside of the brush, I use it for my bottom lashes. And lastly would be lipstick, but I don't wear lipstick. I prefer wearing slightly tinted lip balms. Now the one that I've been wearing recently, which I absolutely love the color because it's more like in a nude color, it's from Be a Bombshell, and it's called French Kiss. As you can see, there's not much color. All it does is just moisturize more than anything. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This is my daily routine, as I said at the beginning. So obviously everybody has their different tips and tricks. These are mine, and I hope some of them end up being useful for you. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you again next week.